Good afternoon, class. Our lesson for today is about cosmology of creation, which aims to explain to you what are the different story of creation is. So, cosmology of creation, let us find out first the basic. A creation myth is a symbolic narrative on how the world began and how the first people inhabit it. It narrates the story of a sacred history that tells how the deeds of a supernatural being. A reality came into existence as a wholeness of reality. It is a fragment, a particular kind of human behavior, as of a religious professor, Asinaya Aliada, which he says that mythology is part of reality, it's part of the culture, it's part of our appreciations of our supernatural deeds. While in popular usage, the term myths often refers to the false or fanciful stories. But as I said earlier, it is a part of reality. As for me, there were some classifications of cosmology of creations, like an example of accretion or conjunction. These myths see creations forming as a result of the mingling of or layering of a primal elements, which is earth, wind, fire, and water, or the primeval matter. Any actions, whether that of wind or wave, or the earliest stirring of God or devil, unleash the productive power sleeping in a primordial deep, or it emphasizes the potency of the primal matter. As a sample for this is a Bolivian story which named as Tiki Viracosha. He's the only prince and the creator of all things, emerged from a void of creator of the earth and heaven. And he created animals and a race of giants who live in an eternal darkness, and as he neglected to create a moon and stars and everything as a source of light. So on the first day, it's like a story of the Genesis, wherein on the first day he created the sun, the moon, the earth, and the stars, which serves as the light. On the second day, he created the animals and the birds. And on the third day, he created humans in a form of stones. Some he created as long hair, some were pregnant, some were having their children beside them, and he also decided to give them a certain clothes for men and women. But before that, he asked his helper to go forth into the earth to search a place that the people could live. So before he spread out all the people to populate the earth, he decided to bury them, and he said to them that you will rise in the right time. When it's right time, I will give you your own language, your own clothes, your own people, your own culture, and your own behavior. And then when the people spread out on the place, they were given these rights to talk their own language, their own culture, and they learned how to get through it. Vicarocha just vanished on the sea. That's why the Bolivian people believed that their God was living on the sea, which Viracocha was derived from the word foam of the sea. So they were treasuring the sea creatures. Another story was the secretion. This means secretion as a result of divine emission as vomit, pagsusuka, sweat, urination, decapitation, and masturbation. As I remembered, my professor in RPU says that there was a story on Roman creation which the god just masturbate, and his sweat and all his masturbation just spread out and just sprouted, and everything was created. After his masturbation, it sprouted the mountains, peoples, skies, and water. Another story is an African story, which here is the picture. It's Bumba. After he vomited, there was because of out of sadness, he vomited. He vomited onto the sun, and it creates light. And after that, he still feels sad, so he vomited again onto the moon. And then it appears all of these creatures, like those of birds, the volts, the sun, the people, the crocodile, and so on. Bumba vomited up to the moon and the stars, and after that the night had to light it also. Still Bumba was in pain, so he strained again, and 9 living creatures came forth. Leopard named Bumba, Pongo Bumba, the crested eagle, which is on the picture, the crocodile named Ganda Bumba, and the one little fish named Yon. The next, the old Koyo Bumba, the tortoise, and Cheche, the lightning, swift, deadly, beautiful like the leopard. Nyani Bumba, also the one beetle, and the goat named Budi. Last of all came forth. There were many of men, but only one was white like Bumba. His name was Loko Ima. All of these creatures created as their own. All of this, the heron created all the birds except the kite. He did not make the kite. The crocodile made serpents and iguana, and the goat produces every beast with horns. Yo, the small fish, brought forth the fish on the sea water, and the beetle created insects. So all of these created as their own, created all creatures. But then, it appears that there were some black sheep on all of his creations, which is Cheche. And when there were times that Bumba just very mad at Cheche because he was always creating fire on earth, which is sometimes, if you also observe, there were some seldom fires on different areas in the Philippines, right? Another story of creation is sacrifice. These myths focus on the creation as a consequence of a sacrifice of God. Typically, a sacrificed body becomes part of a newly created world. So it emphasizes creation has a cause. So creation means you have to sacrifice your own. There was a certain God who sacrificed, and all of his part of the body became mountains, became sea, became different part of earth. Unlike the Genesis, that the word God who created everything, this story was emphasizes that creation has a cost. Like this story, which is Pangku. Pangku emerged from a cosmic egg. It is a story of a China. Grows in 18,000 years in the process of growth. His body separates into lighter and brighter yin men, from the heaven to darker yang. Yin and yang. If you always observe in every Chinese, they emphasizes these eggs, and there was a yin and yang, which the white one on the white part. If you always recall, there was a symbol like this, circle and like that, and there was white and darker, which is the sky and the darkness. And then when Pangku dies, in this story, they were saying that God is also dying. Their God is always dying. Like Pangku, which when he dies, his skulls became the dome of the sky, his flesh becomes the soil, his bones becomes the rocks and mountains, and his hair becomes vegetation. So his hair becomes everything, vegetation. Another classification of story, which the two creators. In this myth, the world is created through combined efforts of conflict between two gods. These gods may be the same sex, opposite sex, or maybe twin gods. So as a story, as a sample of story, which is Izanami and Isagani, which they are twins, and they decided to marry each other. And when they married each other, there was a ceremonial there that causes death of their children. Because when Izanami gave birth to their child, it dies. Because based on their ceremony, the woman after marriage should not talk first. The man should talk first. But they disobeyed the ceremonial. So then, their child died. On the second marriage, they decided to follow the ceremony. So then, Izanami gave birth to different god and goddess and deities. But then, it's emphasizes here that their god is also dying. So Izanami died. When Izanami died, he asked Izagani to send her to Yomi. That Yomi is like hell. She must be sent to Yomi. But then she asked Isagani not to look at me when you were going to send me to Yomi. Please do not look at me. But then Isagani, out of curiosity, disobeyed Izanami. So he looked at Izanami, and he was so shocked because Izanami was like a rotting crab corpse, nabubulok na. So then Izanami was very angry. She was very mad, and she created chaos on Earth. And that Izagani created the block that blocking the Earth and the Hell. And that's the story of another story. That's another story of creation, which the separation of Hell and the Earth. That's the picture of Izanami and Isagani from Japan anyway. And the story of Juspuber. In this myth, the world is created by a great maker God. It's emphasized the creator's craftsmanship on the intimacy and cleverness of the creation. So this story, it emphasizes the story of Genesis, which, if you always recall, there was always a craftsmanship of God, our God, which He creates on the first day the light. He created everything. Second day, third day, He created everything. And on seventh day, he rest. And this ex nihilo is like a story of Genesis also, and that's end of the topic. Thank you.